We're just waiting for a few minutes to get the video working. Good? Hello, how are you?
Come on in.
Okay, so we have the video going, everyone's ready, so we'll call the meeting to order. And if we could start with a roll call, please.
Councilmember Bawanin.
Here.
Councilmember Hill.
Here.
Councilmember Buck.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Carr.
Here.
Mayor Young.
I'm here. We'll go ahead and do the flag salute and then the invocation. So if we could stand for that. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello. Now if you could remain standing for the invocation. Dear Lord, please bless this gathering. Thank you for our audience and those who are participating tonight, who are here and maybe participating on the phone as well. Please keep our city staff, the city workers, and all of the residents of Houston safe as we go through this health crisis. Assist our city leaders with the understanding, the wisdom, and the courage to make decisions that will benefit our community, and help those who are struggling now with employment or other medical issues. And please protect our men and women in the military. Finally, Lord, please bless this great nation and the city of Hughson. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, we'll go to public comment. Now's the time for the public to make any comments on any item that's not on the agenda. And if you could limit the presentations to 3 minutes. So do we have any public comment? All right, is there anyone on the phone or will we get phone calls in, or how will we take public comment here?
Just here. Or
Just
they would
here.
have emailed me Friday by 5, but I
Okay.
did not receive any.
So no emails or no information, okay. We don't have any presentations, so we'll go on to the consent calendar. I know that Councilmember Bawanin wanted to pull item 3.4. Would the council like to pull any other items from the consent calendar? Okay, hearing none, let's go ahead and pull item 3.4. Councilmember Bawanin, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I noticed that we did the road survey in 2013. How long are those good for? I know that we're using that road scale of 82, but how long is that good for?
Thank you, Councilmember. This is Leah Valakis, Community Development Director. The road survey is outdated, I think, for industry standards. There is a request by the other cities that StanCog fund a new road survey. I think there are talks in the works to have that happen so we can get an updated survey, but right now it is the only survey that we have to rely on. But we would like to have it updated. I would think that typically something from 7 years ago, doesn't reflect what we've done, and there has been some road degradation since it was done. So, but it's the only document we have to rely on at the moment.
And second question, Leah, thank you for that update. How costly is that particular survey?
I don't think it's a small amount of money. I don't know exactly how much because we are hoping to have our partner in StanCog maybe fund it. Raul, I don't know if you know an estimate or maybe even the mayor, since there's been some discussion at StanCog about funding it. But it's not.
That's okay if you don't have an answer. I was just a quick question, because will that be some type of budget item that we have to include at a later date?
There's been discussion to either have our cities fund a portion of it, so then it would be in the budget, or potentially have SANCOG cover the entire cost. It's still under discussion, so depending on which way it happens, yes, we'd have to budget it at some point.
Okay, that's good. As long as we can keep using that index, we should be okay. But I was just worried that looked old at one point, 2013. So I'm good. Thank you, Mayor.
Ramon, just a couple comments on that item. A lot of the cities and the regions are doing these updates so we can show improvement in the index with the use of SB1 and some for us, Measure L money, so we can show the taxpayers that we did use the money to improve the roads, and so we should see an improvement in that index as we go from year to year. And as far as the funding goes, Leah's correct as far as STANCOG taking care of the work, but it would be a cost sharing between each city based on the Measure L split. And so it would, we can use Measure L or SB1 funds to do the study. So it probably will impact our budget a little bit, but since we're so small, the share wouldn't be very large.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Raul, did you have anything else on this one? Or?
No, just another comment. We did discuss it at the last Management and Finance Committee meeting, and my understanding is the effort to do a comprehensive it takes some time. I think last time they indicated it took about a year's time. So also kind of factor in that additional year. I think we all just kind of felt it was time to kind of reevaluate what the condition of our roadways were. Mayor's correct to hopefully see some improvement for most jurisdictions as part of that process. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on 3.4? Okay, if there's no other questions or items on the consent calendar to discuss, I'll make a motion we approve the consent calendar.
I'm good. This is second.
Councilmember Bawanen?
Aye.
Councilmember Hill?
Aye.
Councilmember Buck?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Carr?
Aye.
Mayor Young?
Aye. Okay, that passes. And we'll go to 5.1 is introduce and waive the first reading of ordinance 2020-05, amending section 13-08-520 of chapter 13.8 of title 13 of the Hughson Municipal Code, Public Services.
Mayor, this is Dan Schroeder, your city attorney. I'll be reporting on this item. As you'll remember, at a prior meeting, the council was presented and then approved a residential water discontinuation policy that was in accordance with SB 998. That was the process that provided opportunities for residential water users to obtain some type of amortization or agreement to pay off their debt, as well as the right of a tenant who does not have the service agreement with the city, but rather the property owner does, and then the property owner causes a discontinuation. The tenant has the option of becoming a customer of the city under those circumstances. And as we reported at that meeting, that we would be coming back with an ordinance that would amend your current ordinance in section 13.08.520 to bring it consistent with that policy. There are basically two changes that are occurring. One is the significant one. If you look at the existing ordinance, it provides a process for discontinuance of residential water service based off of non-payment. That is being repealed and replaced with the new language that directs the city to follow the discontinuation guidelines set forth in its residential water discontinuation policy as adopted and amended by the City Council from time to time. The second is more of a house cleaning, where in the first sentence it talks about the bill not being paid on or before the last day of the month, or
Has left.
within 19 days of the issuance of the bill. That "or within 19 days of the bill" is being repealed out of it, is because it is not consistent with the billing process for the city. So with that, this is the initial reading and introduction. Unless you have any questions or concern, we would just need a motion to introduce and waive its first readings. And I would also like to ask that when you are prepared to open up the public hearing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing. Are there any comments on the item? We didn't receive any emails or correspondence on this item. Okay, I don't see any public comment on the item for the hearing, so I'll close the hearing and bring it back to the council. For the council, are there any questions or comments prior to a motion? Okay, well, I'll accept a motion at this time.
So moved, this is Ramon.
I'll second.
Councilmember Bawanan?
Aye.
Councilmember Hill?
Aye.
Councilmember Buck?
We may have temporarily lost him, but, oh, there he goes.
Mike Buck.
Has joined.
Should we repeat the motion for him to hear?
Yeah. Councilmember Buck, did you hear the motion that was made to approve the item?
About halfway through the motion, and I got cut off.
Okay, we're on roll call and you're up to bat.
Well, can we, did you have any questions prior to the vote? We have a motion to approve and a second.
I have no questions, Mayor.
Okay, you can go ahead and call the roll.
Councilmember Buck?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Carr?
Aye.
Mayor Young?
Aye. Okay, that passes. We'll go to comments. City Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm going to keep my comments brief this evening, but obviously COVID-19 is the topic of discussion. I wanted to just report that as of this afternoon, for Stanislaus County, our Public Health Department had reported that there were 10 positive cases here in Stanislaus County, individuals that tested positive for COVID-19. 0 deaths related to COVID-19 at this point in time. It's a number we're continuing to track. We expect it to continue to increase, and we're hopeful that it increases slowly and gradually. But at the same time, we're trying to keep our community informed as to what's happening here in Stanislaus County. Many of you have already probably seen some of the information that we're making available through our website, through our social media outlets. We're basically just trying to direct our residents to the information from the experts. And for that, it's the Stanislaus County Public Health Department, the governor's office. There's a website that has a lot of good information on this topic, and obviously the CDC as well. Earlier this afternoon, the mayor and I participated in the first of a Stan Mac meeting, conference call meeting. We will be participating in that conference call on a daily basis, and we'll continue to keep everybody updated on the information. And just in closing, we'd like to thank the council, our staff, our local partners, our residents for the way they're handling this issue here locally. Very, very impressed with how everyone is kind of rallying around each other and just supporting each other during this difficult time. We'll continue to provide updates as we go forward. We'd like to direct folks to our website, Hughson.org, to get the latest information. That's my report for this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy City Clerk.
I have no comments. Thank you.
Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to let you know we are still issuing permits We're trying to limit it to those permits that are of emergency or quasi an emergency. The inspector is following the guidelines put forth for the San Luis County inspections, which means the inspector won't be going into occupied homes, but they are willing to conduct inspections on unoccupied homes and things that are outside. So re-roofs, pools are still going to be processed. Anything outside on a home is fair game. So we are still processing those or letting people email them. Carla is processing them, then they're paying, and then we're getting them to the inspector. And there is still work at the Euclid South site. They're moving along. And those are all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Director of Finance and Admin Services?
Mary Mayhew. Thank you, Mayor. No comment this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Police Services?
All right, Mayor, Council, and staff, I'll be very brief. Once again, just to touch on the activity for the last 2 weeks. If you see the activity for the first week was a little bit more robust than the second week. I had 3 of my deputies at training on and off during that particular week, and plus a little insecurity about the coronavirus coming out, and educating the deputies that they can still do their job and still operate with coronavirus out there. So I expect it to pick up after this. We made a few arrests during that time period. The graffiti tagger, we were able to arrest him. Some vigilant citizens saw him at a park table at Starn Park, and we were able to match it up with a marking pen in his pocket and everything. So that worked out well. It was one of the people we suspected. We were able to actually make an arrest for the items taken out of the vehicle, and they used a credit card at a local business, local series. And this business has extremely good video, so we're able to match that up. And one arrest was made. We still have one outstanding. And I don't know if you've heard about our assist with code enforcement. There was a house that was closed. They had 20 dogs in the house. And the mess that comes with 20 dogs was still in the house. So it was pretty bad inside. That should be boarded up tomorrow, hopefully, so we get that all secured. And it was locked out, and we did arrest the responsible for going back into his house for those unhealthy conditions. And we did help them every 15-minute program, too. And that's about all we had for the week. Any questions?
I had one. I've heard that, along with probably everyone else, the protective equipment that the deputies need to wear to be safe, like masks, goggles or eyewear and gloves and things like that, are hard to come by. And I was just wondering if the deputies here in town had the stuff that they needed.
Absolutely, they do. That was something I already had in their vehicles before this all started, so they were very well prepared before that happened. And we're in the process of getting more supplies in now. Yep, we are fully stocked.
Thank you.
The only thing we didn't have was booties for the doghouse, but we have those now.
Hopefully you won't have to deal with that again, but
Yes.
you'll be prepared.
Always the chance.
Okay, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, as you are aware or may be aware, the governor, in one of his orders that he issued, his executive orders, made a waiver of some of the telephonic conference abilities for elected officials in joining into meetings. And in essence, all that it did was this, is in the current Brown Act, it says that if any elected official wants to attend a meeting via teleconference, we must post the notice identifying where the person will be participating from, and then post the notice both at the city council chambers, on the website, and at the location where the elected official is. The location must be ADA accessible, where the teleconference participant will be calling from, and it must be open to the public. The governor waived those requirements. So as tonight, when you look at our agenda that's posted, it has what we call the special notice for the coronavirus or COVID-19, reciting the provisions of the governor's executive order that allows that. So when you look here, even though 4 of our council members are participating telephonically, nowhere is it identified on the agenda where they're at. It's not that this is secretive, but this is protective measures to, in essence, protect the government, no different than in Washington where they have the underground, wherever, where all the elected officials go. However, the public is still entitled to participate and to observe. And observe has been interpreted by the governor in a subsequent order saying that being able to hear you and having access to your documents, et cetera, online is sufficient. For public comment, you may do it one of two ways. One, you establish a way where electronically or dial in, people can make comment at the appropriate time. And if you do not do that, then you still have to have a physical location, as we do tonight, where members of the public can come and make their comments known. So those are in essence the procedures. We're following them tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody may have on them.
Are there any questions? All right. That means
This is Bud. I have one question. When we're doing this, if the mics for the sheriff and Raul could be turned up just a little bit more, because we're hearing it secondhand almost. At least I am.
Okay, thank you. Well, hopefully this won't go on a long time, but we'll get better at it for sure. So the streaming part is a little bit delayed, is that correct?
Very delayed.
And that's on what format? Is that on?
YouTube.
All right, any other questions? All right, we'll go to council comments. We'll start with Councilmember Buck.
I'd just like to take a moment to thank Raul, Ashton, Mary and Leah, and all the staff for everything they're doing right now to keep the city running properly, and just to communicate to everybody about what's going on with this. It's been greatly appreciated, and I thank you too.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Hill.
I too appreciate the work that's being done with the city staff and the rotations that they're doing. I hope that this won't go on for much longer, but we better be ready to hunker down, because according to a few medical people that I've talked to, this may go into maybe midsummer. But I'm willing to do it this way. Thank you.
Councilmember Buwanan.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to echo what Councilmember Buck and Bud has said. Thank you for the staff, all the work that you do. We're all sacrificing, but you're sacrificing a lot more than we are. Raul, thank you for keeping us updated on what's going on. Chief, keep your deputies out there safe. Everybody be safe. I think we're all hunkering down and lying low, and I think that's important. One question for Raul. I did notice that in the schedule that you canceled the next two council meetings. I was wondering if they're going to do this the same way telephonically.
Yeah, I think what we're hoping to do is kind of determine what items need to come back to you. Working with the mayor, we'll look at the agendas for future meetings and then schedule meetings accordingly. But I know, based on the conversation I had with the mayor, we wanted to try and just bring those items that were most critical back to you. And so if it meant missing a couple meetings, I think that was kind of the goal, given what's happening.
So what I'm seeing is April 13th and April 27th is canceled. I was thinking to keep those open. Well, you tell me what's best, because if you cancel them and then bring them up to speed, will that be sufficient time for us to get the information that we need? Because if you cancel them, then really that's going to, not that I got any place to go, but it's something that if they're going to be canceled, they're canceled, or what's your best thought?
Yeah, I think what we're looking at is canceling the regular meetings, and if there was a need to meet for a particular item, we would hold a special meeting once we were able to identify a date that worked for everybody.
Yeah, also, Ramon, the city manager and I talked about this prior to canceling the meetings, and his thought was that we could cover some of the stuff that we did here tonight to take care of that business, and then looking forward, there was nothing so urgent that we couldn't take care of it starting in May. So I think we're good, and to be cautious, I just thought it would be better if we didn't meet in person. And also, this format is not the best in my opinion. So I'd like to get back to the regular meetings as soon as possible. But if there is an item that something comes up that we definitely need to address, then we can definitely do this sort of meeting again.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I'm good.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Carr.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to emphasize with everybody to follow the medical standards that are out there to keep everybody safe, and hope that nobody catches this virus that's going around, and not spread it to their families or other members. So other than that, be safe, follow the examples that people are exhibiting, and just stay disease-free. And I also want to thank all the staff for the work they're doing. I know this is tough times. I know this puts an extra burden on their workload, but they're doing an admirable job, and I really appreciate it. That's it.
Thank you. As far as my comments, as far as StanCog goes, we did do our exec committee before some of these meetings were canceled, and we've also canceled the StanCog meeting for March and probably April to comply with the health department's orders and the state's orders. And I've also been in contact with the city manager on several occasions regarding operations of the city, and the best way to make sure our staff is safe and then still provide the best service that we can to the community. So hopefully we're striking that right balance, but certainly with everyone's safety in mind first. Also, we just today started the daily conference calls with the mayors and city managers of all the cities in the county, along with the county staff and the EOC, to make sure that we're updated every day on the changing circumstances. And then I would hope that the city manager, which I'm sure he has been doing, will communicate kind of what we've talked about with the council members, so they're in the loop as well. And I also just want to just say that, I think it's important as we work through this that we get our information from reliable sources. I've seen a lot of things on Facebook that are not really vetted, and I don't even think is really credible information in all cases. So I think it's best if we get the information or try to direct people to the county's website, the CDC, or the state's website to try to get at least that information, and then whatever other information you want to get, but at least you're getting some pretty decent information from a government agency that's been vetted and we can rely on. Because I think there is a lot of fear out there, and sometimes social media does not help to reduce that. I also want to remind everyone, during this time where our businesses, we're asking them to reduce their activity, in some cases close completely, that we remember that they're an important part of our community, and we'll need to support them when they can reopen, and the ones that can operate in some sort of reduced capacity, that we try to do what we can to support them if at all possible as we work through this. So those are all the comments that I had. We don't have any closed session, and if there's anything else, if there's nothing else on the phone there, then I'll make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a first and second. Let's just call the roll here, because I wouldn't be able to tell on the phone who all says they agree.
Okay, Councilmember Buanan?
Ramon, are you there?
Didn't hear you.
We're going to call the roll to adjourn just because I can't hear on the phone each of you.
Got it, thank you.
Councilmember Buanan?
Yes.
Councilmember Hill?
Aye.
Councilmember Buck?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Carr?
Aye.
Mayor Young?
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
night.
Good night.